Sin always finds a way to get its own way. And that's what we're illustrating today with Balaam in the scriptures. Now, this account is found for us in Numbers chapter 22. And Balaam was a prophet of the Lord. He was not a false prophet or a pagan prophet, as some people suppose, but he had communion and access to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's indicated for us when you see in the King James Bible, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D, or God in all caps. That is telling us that the Hebrew word behind that word is the covenant name of God. That's the name that God revealed to his servants, okay? And so Balaam was a prophet of the Lord. The problem was that God wants to bless his people, and he was actively blessing his people, and that intimidated the nations around them. And so the Moabite king, Balak, sent for Balaam, who was a prophet of the Lord, with one request. Hey, we know you serve their God. We want their God to curse them. And so Balaam goes to the Lord and says, Lord, here's these people, and here's what they want me to do. And God says to Balaam, don't go with them. These people are not cursed. These people are blessed, and that's that. And so Balaam goes out and he sends those folks away. Well, Balak, realizing that, the first attempt failed, he sends out a more or less illustrious party to go and try to convince Balaam. And so the second group comes, and Balaam goes back to the Lord, and he says, Lord, they're here again. And God basically says to Balaam what my mom always said to me whenever I was stubborn and full-heartedly set on something. Do what you want to do. That's what you're going to do anyway. And so Balaam decided to go with these folks, and some other things happened, which we're not going to get into here, but God instructs Balaam, only say what I command you to say. So 3 times Balaam goes up and he pronounces a blessing over the people of Israel. And Balak is like, what are you doing, man? This is the opposite of what I'm trying to pay you to do. I want them to be cursed. Instead, you're blessing them. Well, then in Numbers chapter 23, we find God's people committing sin with the women of Moab. The New Testament indicates to us that Balak taught Moab how to cause Israel to sin. And the issue is, God wants to bless his people, but sin prevents us from getting that blessing. And that's not really the lesson that we're wanting to focus on today, though that is an appropriate lesson. The lesson we want to focus on today is how that sin will connive and figure out a way to get paid. It will figure out a way to get what it wants. And Balaam compromised his virtue because he wanted money. He wanted gain. He wanted fame. He wanted popularity. He wanted wealth. And how many preachers compromise their virtue for the same thing?